Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and I've got game two of Lucid's tournament, which I will be casting, and hopefully it'll be a fun one. So we've got 9 players here. First off, we have Toxic Manculinity, which is being played by Kausk. He is, I believe, a previous finalist. He played Vanheim. Kind of got 2v1'd, ended up dying somewhat early. And then he was also the LA Man player in Lucid's Satis series. And he's probably the only player in this lobby that I'm really familiar with, or at least somewhat familiar with. Next up, we've got number 1 Dream Atlas sales rep, who is Agartha, who is Tlaloc. So Tlaloc, I believe he's one of the main people, if not the main person, working on Dream Atlas, which should provide an alternative map generation. So we get a little more variety in maps going forward and some new features, which will be really nice. So he's doing a little bit of advertising with his round 2 pretender name. After that, we've got Akelin, the pretender for Marignan. They are being played by Amnesary, who, like many of the players in this game, I am not familiar with. Then we've got Kaka, which is Kalem, played by Starcrest. We've got Patala, Failed Laboratory Experiment, which is Refgear. We've got, oh gosh, me and Chinese names. Zongzina? Zhong? I don't know. But they're played by Sir John. With Satis, we have Motherfucking Snakes. Probably a reference to, is it Snakes on a Plane? With Samuel L. Jackson, which I really liked. I don't get very many references, but that is one that I do get, I think. Satis is being played by Of Bujak. Then we've got Exodus 22:19, which I don't know what that is, aside from it's a Bible quote. And let's see, they are, I'm assuming that's Pyrene because the flag is unfamiliar. And they're being played by Egg. And then we've got Tournament Successor, who's Atlantis. And they're being played by Zooey. So all these players won their initial round 1 game, as far as I know, unless somebody subbed out, which means they won a free-for-all game on a donut-styled map between them and 4 other players. So they were the one of the, so to speak, the best player of the 5 for their particular game. Either they won in some combination of Diplo and scripting, or mostly scripting. It's definitely those were definitely maps you could snowball on. So they've all at least won a game, which I'm hoping will make for a really entertaining second round game. Ideally, they're all fairly capable. I know Kosk is. And Tlaloc, I think, should be pretty good. I've at least heard of him. I think I've heard some mentions of Sir John, so I think we've got a pretty solid lobby here. And we'll have to see how it goes. So let's go ahead and jump to the overline map. So this is how we're going to be deployed here. So it's a 9-player game, so everyone technically borders everyone else. Either through a diagonal. So for instance, if we take Kalem here, they'll have Satis to their right, Pyrene above, Marignan to the left, and Tianchi to their south. And then they're at least was it like kitty corner to the other four factions. So we've got Atlantis, Agartha, Man, and Patala. So a very, very tight map. Atlantis did opt for a coastal start, it looks like. No reason for them not to, I would think. I don't think the Cetus tomb worms get. I don't think they're amphibious, if I remember right from fighting them. So it's going to force Cetus to walk around if Cetus decides to fight them, which is pretty nice. And then Marignon's got sailing, but Marignon did not opt for a coastal start, so Marignon's going to maybe try to get some borders around here. Maybe they might try to pick a war with Atlantis. It could be an interesting style of war where Atlantis can raid out of the water, but Marignon can sail over and raid the cap. So that could be interesting. We've got Pyrene, who's a big blood power. Marignon's also a pretty big blood power. I don't think we've got too many others. So this game shouldn't be too bad on that front. Yeah, so let's see. In terms of if I had to make a completely uneducated guess for which nation I would think would win, or I guess which nation I think is most overpowered. I think I'm gonna put my bet on Pyrene. But we'll see. They could certainly get Coalition for being a big blood power. They could certainly, maybe underplay. There's other really good players. Kauskas played Man before. He's definitely very experienced with LA Man. So it could be an extremely dangerous opponent there. And then we got this whole row, at least, I think should be very good players. We've got Tlalakir on Agartha. So we'll just have to see what folks do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. For the thrones, we've got 12 points to win. So you need 6 of the thrones. There are 12 thrones. The thrones are the Throne of Bureaucracy. Whoops. The Throne of Dreams. Crystal Throne, which gives you a Crystal Mage. Throne of the Artificer for a forging discount. Throne of Earth for gnomes. Gnomes are really nice. The Golden Throne for Adepts of the Golden Order, who are great, and also 400 gold, which is amazing. Throne of Air, Windmasters. You get Air Shield Bless, Flying Air 2 mages. Pretty awesome. Throne of Death, a lot of death gems. And the Throne of Fortune. Everyone loves a little bit more luck. So that's what we're looking for there. In terms of global slots, I think this is 5 global slots for 9 players. And yeah, I think that's it for turn 1. I believe I'm going to be starting down here in this weird little province. I was a bit worried that this was bugged, but I asked Lucid about it, and he said it should resolve over the end turn. So we'll see if everything pops up there next turn. And then, oh, already found the Steel Evans. All right, so I probably won't start putting this series up until the game is over to preserve secrets like this. But we've got Steel Evans. All right, so it's in between Agartha and Man, but also kind of Marignon and Cetus. So whoever gets this is going to be an interesting power location. The Throne of the Artificer, if we were to find that. here we go. So it's down here. Oh, interesting. So they can go down wait, that's the wrong cave. So they can go into this cave. So for Man in particular, he can get into this cave to get to Steel Evans. Or he can get up here to get Throne of the Artificer. So we'll see if a very strong player ends up acquiring that kind of asset. In terms of starting scales, we've got what looks like a somewhat heavy bless, but nothing too crazy. Ones in a lot of these aren't the worst. He's also running Drain 3, so I'm expecting a strong bless, but not a hell bless. Agartha has mostly scales, but has taken Misfortune too. Pyrene has a lot of turmoil and a lot of luck, so pretty good scales, but maybe enough for somewhat of a bless. Calum has dumped a couple of scales, but also has a couple of positive scales, so maybe a small bless. But a lot of Calums I've seen run full scales, so I'll be interested to see what he ends up doing. Satis has darn near full scales except for Drain. So maybe he's planning to play more around the chariots rather than the Tomb Worms that have been nerfed a lot recently. And then we've got Marignon with a fair number, good production scales, but just a little bit of misfortune, probably to try and afford some bless. Then we've got Patala with darn near full scales, just a little bit of turmoil, which also synergizes just a little bit with luck. We've got Atlantis with order and production, some cold scales, and a little bit of misfortune. And we've got Tianchi, who's dumped a little bit, but is generally mostly full scales. So I don't think we've got any true hell blesses in here. We could have a strong bless from Cost Cure, but outside of that, I'm not seeing anything crazy. So it could be a pretty standard game. I think the players are looking at this particular game and they're thinking that they might have to win 2 to 3 wars to secure a win. Now with 6 thrones, technically you could win 1 war and win. If you somehow got all 4 thrones on your initial border, and then you won a war and got these 2 thrones, the chances of that are pretty slim though. So most likely you'll have to see someone win at least 2 wars, or potentially throne rush against maybe 1 or 2 players in a 3rd war to try and win. But we'll have to see how that goes. And I think that's most of it for this particular turn. So we've looked at Pretenders, we've looked at Thrones, we've looked at a few of the sites. We could check some more sites. Shambler Reefs. I don't think there's anything else crazy. We got a Windspire, Dancing Lights. Not seeing a whole lot else. Got an Academy of War. So yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of crazy stuff. We've got a copper deposit in here, a wild forest, and a lake of reflected time. So yeah, I think that's it for turn 1. I will go ahead and see you guys in turn 2. Have a good one, and I hope you guys enjoy this series. Later. Bye.